Hi there, I'm Dr. Rolanda Fabien, wife, mom, educator, veteran, wellness enthusiast, and I'm also the proud founder of Bright Idea Consulting. I'm passionate about helping you thrive, prioritizing your well-being, achieving your breakthroughs, and unlocking your personal potential. Here, we dive into practical tips, inspiring conversations, and transformative strategies to help you navigate life's challenges with confidence and grace. Whether you're looking to strengthen your relationships, practice better self-care, or find balance amidst the chaos, you are in the right place. So if you're ready to grow and create the life you always dreamed about, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Now let's dive into today's episode and start building your brighter tomorrow today. Hello, Queens. It's Dr. Rolanda Fabien, and I want to welcome you back to Dr. Rolanda's Bright Ideas, because today I have something that I want to share with you in terms of books. So, anyone who knows me knows that I love to read, and most of my books are digital now. I usually can just pull them up right on my phone. I'm subscribed to Kindle, Audible, all these digital Headway. I like digital versions of my book because they can go with me easily wherever I go. But whenever I'm at home, if I find a book that's like really, really helpful, I will go out and actually purchase that, because I started creating a resource library for myself. And so I have a lot of physical copies of books that made big impressions, which is what I want to talk to you about today. Any book that I feel like is worth making an investment in and I buy, I put it in my library. But today I'm only going to share with you like a few of the ones that I constantly go back to because they have helped me on some domain of my life, like either my physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual. And so that's what I'm going to share with you today. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're coming back, welcome back. Either way, please do like, subscribe, and share, especially if you find this information to be helpful. That way I'll know to bring you more of it. And if I mention the books here and there's something you feel like, you know what, she missed it, she didn't include this, put it in the comments. We would love to see what books you like to read or you find useful so that you keep going back to. Okay. All right. So I'm going to tell you the books that I have and talk to you about why I like them so much. First things first. So I don't know if you know, but on this channel, I talk to queens who wear many crowns, but don't wear them all at the same time. They know better than that because they don't want to overwhelm themselves or wear themselves out. However, they do understand that in order for them to be the queens they need to be in their kingdoms, they have got to take care of themselves. And so they come here because I'm always giving information about how we can take better care of ourselves so that we can have our kingdoms running in tip-top shape. I am also a published author. I used to work with students that have special needs, and I was always advocating for those students and advocating with their parents. And so I felt like one of the things that parents didn't know was what questions to ask or how to show up in their child's meetings and be empowered and find their voice. And so what I did is I wrote 2 books. I wrote one for people who have children that are on special education plans, and then I wrote another book for people who have children who are on Section 504 plans. And so when I tell you that I am a person who loves to read, I mean that. I write these books, and if I find them helpful, I make sure that the information that I have is accessible to everyone else. This is why I'm going to share these books with you today. But if you're a person who's looking for this type of information, I will link these books in the show notes today, but you can also go onto my website and you'll be able to purchase them there. All right, first things first. So I think where I should start is with the spiritual, because we are beings who exist on more than just a physical plane. And most of the time, if you've addressed what's going on with you internally, you can address what's going on with you outwardly or externally in the physical plane. So spiritually is where I want to start. And I'm going to tell you, it's the greatest book. I know it's cliche. I know everybody's heard it before, blah, blah, blah. But it's true. It is true. The first book that I want to feature is my Bible. Okay. I like this version of the Bible, the Good News translation. I feel like the wording in it is just so much more relatable to me. It sounds like what I would say is the conversation piece that I would use. So my first book to tend to myself spiritually is the Bible. I mean, there's no other spiritual book that's going to give you more than this one right here. And I know it's huge. I cannot say that I've read through everything. I remember everything, but I'm a regular reader of the Bible. I try to make it a daily practice. I'm always looking at least for a proverb because there's 31 proverbs. So that means that you can read one proverb each day, every day for the month, and you can have read Proverbs 12 times in a year. You can also read Psalms. Psalms has 150 Psalms. And if you read one Psalm a day, then you can go through the book of Psalms twice in a year. Okay, let me do a little bit more. But anyway, those are two places you can start. If you feel like, oh, look at that huge book, it's overwhelming, I don't know where to begin, begin in Proverbs and begin in Psalms. But then there are other stories of the Bible that I just really enjoy. Like I enjoy Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and comparing the differences between them all. Those are the stories of when Jesus came to earth and so on. And, you know, for me, I like to read those stories and learn from those stories. But then, you know, there's apostles who have written stories and letters. There are love letters in here. There's warning letters in here. I mean, you can read the Bible like a book. I've tried that before. Don't recommend it because it kind of jumps around, but it's still a really good book to not only learn from, but also to get into. So you can take it as a story, or you can use this as your directions. I think, you know, there was a saying when I was growing up that Bible stood for the believer's instructions before leaving earth, right? So you can read it as an instruction manual. You can read it as just a story, a good story. The Message Bible, the Message version of the Bible is a really good version if you want to read it like a story. But if you're looking for like spiritual wisdom and a place to get grounded, then you can read any translation, but my preferred is the Good News translation. So that's my spiritual book for the day. Okay. The next book I'm going to talk about is my book that I use to help me mentally, helps me get grounded, even emotionally. And I'll tell you why it addresses those two. This book is by Spencer Johnson. It's called Who Moved My Cheese? Now, this is nowhere near as thick as the Bible, but this is a really easy to read story. And I love it because it's about change. It's about something that everybody in this world will have to deal with at some point in their lives. Okay. And change can be difficult for lots of reasons. You can have a change in where you live. You can have a change in your family dynamics. You can have a change within yourself, in your job. There's just so many things that many changes that we go through in the course of a lifetime. And if you're not great at dealing with change, which I wasn't at one time, this book helps me to remember that change is not only a necessary part of life, it is an inevitable part of life. And since you can't get away from it, learn how to embrace it and how to be successful through it. So that's one of the reasons I enjoy this. It's about four mice who experience change in different ways. And these four mice are supposed to be representations of people in the way that we deal with change. And if you see yourself in any of these mice and you're not happy with the type of person that you are when it comes to dealing with change, you have examples of who else you can be like. And so that's one of the reasons that I enjoy this book. Who Moved My Cheese is about change. It's about growth, and it helps me spiritually, emotionally, and mentally, because it helps me to understand that all these things are natural, and I just need to figure out the most productive way to deal with it. You know, some of the things that I mentioned as far as change are some of the things that experts say are the most stressful things in life, like
losing a loved one, or moving, or starting a new job, or going through a divorce, which is another way of losing someone. All these are like the top stressors that people deal with. And these things are happening every day. So if these things are things that you can't avoid, if these things are happening in your life, then Who Moved My Cheese will help you understand how to deal with those changes in a better, more productive way so that it suits you and it serves you. Okay?
Hey there, sorry to interrupt, but I just want to know if you're enjoying the show so far. If you are, this is the perfect time to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications. By subscribing, you'll never miss out on the practical tips and inspiring conversations and our proven strategies where we're showing you how to prioritize yourself, strengthen your relationships, and thrive in every area of your life. Did you know that most of our listeners say these episodes have given them the clarity and tools that they needed to start making real changes? So don't miss out. Subscribe now and stay connected to the community that's all about helping you grow and glow. All right, now let's get back to the show.
So that's number 2. And that's my spiritual, I keep saying spiritual. That's my physical, my mental and emotional choice for my books. Okay. The next one I want to share with you is this is sort of like my business go-to book. The 12-Week Year by Brian Moran is a great book for those of us who who get frazzled when you have a great big idea and you can't figure out how to accomplish that thing. So Who Moved My Cheese talks about change. Well, this book helps you organize your life in a way that change happens in a predictable way. It's like you're a part of the change versus the change happening to you. When you have major goals that you want to accomplish, either personally or physically or in relationships, in your business, the 12-week year is a format that you can follow to help you plan out how you're going to accomplish that big, hairy, audacious goal, right? It breaks it down so that you can be more productive, so that you can get things done. This book was recommended to me by a friend. I had not heard of it until she mentioned that she was going through it. And there's a whole course of work that goes along with it. But if you just get the book, you'll find that, or at least I did, that if you read the book and you practice what they actually talk about in the book, you'll be able to set yourself up. Plus, they give you some free resources with this book. So once you read it, you'll get some links to some things that you can download and some things that you can use to access other tools and tricks that they have, even access the course that they offer in relation to this book. So anyway, this book says it's the 12-week year, how to get more done in 12 weeks and most others get done in 12 months. So this is a must if you're a person who needs a structured way to go after and accomplish your goals. All right. So this also, for me, helps me on the mental side, because when I have a plan and I'm able to work my plan, I'm at ease. I'm not all frazzled in my emotions. I'm ready to move forward. And so this helps me to address that. So we've gone over your spiritual. We've gone over books that will help you mentally and emotionally. I'm going to talk to you about a book that helped me physically, but I don't have a copy of it, a physical copy of it. I only have a digital copy. I'll give a picture of the book so that you can see what the cover looks like. But it's a book by, oh gosh, her name just escaped my mind, but it's called the Bright Line Eating book. I'm going to find her name and I'm going to put that up there as well. I'll put it in the notes. You know what I'll do? I'll link each one of these in the notes so that you can have direct access to where you can find these books and purchase them if you so choose. So, Bright Line Eating is a book about what it sounds like. You know, she's a doctor who studied nutrition, and she talks about how her research led her to understand that a lot of the times when people are gaining weight or they're not feeling their best, it has to do with sugar resistance. In her book, she talks about the things that we need to stay away from if we're going to change the dynamics of how our bodies synthesize food, and change our relationship to food. I mean, she is a self professed person who was an addict at one point to drugs and to food. And she found that through her research, her addiction to food was what it was causing it. And she talks about how the standard American diet is established in a way that it builds addictions to food. And just understanding that can help us to understand why we have the cravings that we have, why our bodies respond the way we do. And she actually gives you a plan for what you can do about it. The food plan she proposes is almost like the 12-step program for people who have been addicted to other drugs. But and the bright line are the things that you do not eat. Now, I love this book, but I am not a bright line eater. I love the book because it helps me to understand what's happening with my body in relation to food. But I've had to figure out my own way to manage what's going on. So you may know what's going on, and her method might be one that you will want to use. But personally, I don't want to use that method. I have chosen to use other methods because I don't want to restrict myself from eating things. I don't want anything to become forbidden. If God has blessed it and said that it is good, it is good. So I'm not going to not eat something. However, I am going to be mindful of how my body reacts to what I eat and take that into account. I don't think any one dietary published book or style or way of eating, keto, Atkins, or all these things are just different ways to, for people to lose weight, manage food, become more aware of what they're eating. But physical health is about more than what we eat. It's also about how we treat ourselves. Your mental health and your spiritual health will also impact your physical health. Your emotional health will impact your physical health. So physical health is a broad umbrella, but I think I like bright line eating because it teaches me what's happening and it gives me the information I need to make different choices that are good for me. And who knows, if you are interested in buying the book and you want to try her method for eating, then by all means try it. Let us know how it turned out for you. For me, it's not about the actual dietary plan. It's about knowing what's going on in my body and then knowing how to manage that. So that is why I like bright line eating. All right. And the last book that I want to share is not one of those books that's going to touch the domain of eating or physical health, mental health, emotional health, or spiritual health. However, it is very important to take care of ourselves financially. I'm finding that that's an area that is often neglected, especially by marginalized people. We don't have access to so many opportunities as other people. And so we have to be very mindful of how we manage our financial health, our finances. And one of the things that I wanted to share about that is there are plans that we don't know about, right? That people who have money have been doing for years. And it's been working so well for them that their generations are able to do it. So one of the books that I read that helps me a lot in that regard, it's written by Garrett Gunderson, and it was originally called What Would the Rockefellers Do? Now, he had a rebranding. I'm not sure why. So it's really difficult to find this book nowadays. However, he has rewritten, repurposed, I would say, the book, and he calls it now What Would Billionaires Do? That's the name of the book. This book and this book are the same books. However, it just has a new title. The reason I like this book is because he gives backstory about what people like the Rockefellers did why it was successful for them. And he gives you actionable steps that you can take to turn things around in your own finances. Even if you're starting late, even if it's a little at a time, you have to start somewhere and you have to start with what you have. And so I really appreciated reading this book for that reason, because now my finances look way different than they did before reading this book. And that's the difference that knowledge can make. All right. So I've given you my top books that I like to read, and I refer back to. These are in my library. Even the Bright Line Eating book is in my library. It's just in my digital library. If you have books that you have read that have been like your go-tos, you go back to all the time, and you're like, everybody should read this book, please put it in the comments. If you've read one of these books and you found them to be helpful, or even if you read one of these books and you said, I don't know why you like that book, Dr. Rolanda, because it wasn't all that. Put that in the comments too. I just would like to hear from you. I feel like this is a community where we learn and support each other, learn from our others' experiences. We don't have to learn it the hard way. So share your experiences with us, because like I always say, the comments are the place to go. Okay. All right, Queens. Well, that's what I have for you today. I hope you found it helpful. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this information if you found it helpful. Also, you can put into the comments other things that you would like to hear me talk about. If there are things that are along the areas of self-care or the 4 domains or spiritual things, or social emotional learning or trauma-informed care, those are the things I am always talking about. So if you find that there are things that you want to know more about, let me know, and I'll be sure to put together some material for it to help you out. All right. Okay. It was good to talk with you, and I will see you next time. In the meantime, take care. And remember, even though you're a queen with many, many crowns, don't wear them all at the same time, because you've got to take care of yourself. Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed the show and found something inspiring to take with you on your wellness journey. If you're ready to dive deeper and kickstart your journey into well-being, visit mvp.brightideaco.com/free flourish. Take our free training to get you started. And don't forget to check out our store at brightideaco.store, where you'll find a curated list of tools and resources to support your personal growth in your journey. You'll find the links to these in the description and the show notes below. But before you go, be sure to hit subscribe and also tap that notification bell so you'll be the first to know when we release new episodes. Well, I can't wait to see you next time. Until then, take care of yourself and keep shining bright.